Back in 1595 or so, Will Shakespeare pumped out a hot new show. It was rad, it was bad, this dynamite play, which is why it still blows your mind today. So listen up good and rip you'll get out of Romeo and Juliet. In the town of Verona, if you've heard the news, lived the Capulets and the Montagues. They strutted their stuff, these muckety mucks, and designer threads costing big bucks. They hated each other, did these families. You could say they were lifelong enemies. Now the leading man, as you soon will know, was the Montague's son named Romeo. He was young and slim, a stud supreme, ready for action and loaded with steam. Let's listen up good to Romeo as he raps with his pal, Mercutio.
Mercutio, buddy, I can see some kicks. Let's get together with the local chicks.
Now, Romeo, it's nothing new. You're looking for love, which you always do.
You could say that I'm the romantic type. Better grab the peach while the peach is ripe.
There's a party tonight. Super bash. Just the kind of bash we should crash.
Sounds cool, it does. It should be a blast. Just tell me where, and I'll get there fast.
At my Capulet's house, which is not good news, 'cause I ain't too fine amounts of girls.
I agree that it's not a friend's place.
Well, Romeo, he's no ding-a-ling, and he crashes the party and does his thing. Once he gets inside, he cruises the place behind his mask, which covers his face. He keeps his cool till a chick he spots, for whom he instantly has the hots. But Romeo, he doesn't know it yet, that it's Juliet, and she's a Capulet.
Well, hi there, honey. You're out of sight. You're the foxiest chick I met tonight. Thanks so much, you gorgeous punk. I think my heart just went kerplunk. You're a dude with class, I can tell. That we could get together real well. I feel the vibes. We just can't miss. Let's seal it, baby, with a kiss. I like your lips. Oh, yeah, indeed. I dig a guy who moves with speed. But, honey, before we go too far, shouldn't I know just who you are? No need for names and all that stuff. We're hitting it off, and that's enough.
When they break their clinch and separate, they get the news that seals their fate. Juliet finally gets a clue that Romeo's a hated Montague. As for Romeo, he's most upset finding out that she's a Capulet. But to them, it's a technicality. After all, they've got this chemistry. They're hooked for good. They're both in heat. They may get tricked, but what a treat. Soon, Romeo splits, but he can't forget how he feels when he's close to Juliet. And later that night, who does he see but Juliet on her balcony?
Juliet, baby, you're chill, you're rad. For your beautiful bod, I've got it bad.
Romeo, honey, I'm gone. I'm shook. I can hardly wait until we cook.
The same here, sweetie, but don't forget, I'm a Montague and you're a Capulet. Both families hate each other's guts, but without you, baby, I'd surely go nuts.
If it busts their chops, they all can choke. I'm yours for keeps, and I ain't blowing smoke.
You know that our folks will flip their lids. After all, we're just two teenage kids. But I'm hot for you, and you're hot for me, so we've got to get hitched in secrecy. Tomorrow to Friar Lawrence we'll go, and he'll make you Mrs. Romeo. That is, if the notion appears to you.
You know that it does when I say I do.
No, Friar Lawrence is a real cool guy. He marries the couple on the sly. He gives his word that nobody will know that Juliet wed Romeo. Later that day, who does Romeo meet but Mercutio on a local street? They shoot the breeze and have a good schmooze, but they ain't prepared for some real bad news. 'Cause coming along is a nasty dude with a most bodacious attitude. His name is Tybalt, and he's mean as they get, and to make matters worse, he's a Capulet. Hey Romeo, you Montague nerd, you're the Prince of Whips from what I've heard.
Don't front me, Tybalt. Better stash your sword. You're either half smashed or out of your drawer.
Get off my turf, you Montague zits, or I'll slice you up into little bits. This gets a rise from Mercutio, who stands up for his buddy Romeo. He won't let anyone wax his chum, especially Tybalt, that creepy bum. They draw their swords, and both their goals is to fill the other guy with holes. But Romeo says this isn't right, and stands between them to stop the fight. But sneaky Tybalt, in a flash, zaps Mercutio with an awful gash.
Romeo, buddy, you got me good. How come you stood where you should have stood.
I was hoping that I could stop the fight.
Well, I'm bleeding to death, so you stopped it all right. So long, old buddy. But before I go, there's a piece of news that you shouldn't know. I had a Capulet, or I'm about to go. So hear me good what I'm telling you. If you want your chance to stay alive.
Romeo is very mad. His body's been waxed, which don't sit well. He draws his sword, pulls up his tights, and goes after Tybalt to put out his lights. Though Tybalt's a snake, a lousy swine, a duel with Romeo suits him fine. But Romeo's nose is out of joint, and he waxes Tybalt, who gets the point. Once he knocks off Tybalt, poor Romeo has to look real fast for a place to go. He splits the scene and dashes off to stay with Friar Lawrence, who hides him away. Let's take a look now at Juliet, who's heard the news is in a sweat.
I should be a happy young newlywed, but Tybalt was my cousin, and now he's dead. What's even worse is the news, that the guy who killed him was Romeo. Sure, Romeo fills my heart with thrills, but how can you live with a guy who kills? I tell you, sister, this ain't no lie. The way I'm feeling, I'd like to die.
Romeo, who's on the lam, knows he's in the most dreadful jam.
I should be a happy young newlywed, but my pal Mercutio is now dead. What's even worse, I can't forget that I waxed the cousin of Juliet. It's a bummer, believe me, when you try to exist and you know you're on the most wanted list. I tell you, brother, when all is said, the way I'm feeling, I'd rather be dead.
Look up at the sky.
But they soon bounce back from feeling sad, 'cause they're still hung up on each other real bad. Stud Romeo shrugs off his gloom and climbs a wall into Juliet's room. One look at him and her gloom's gone too, and he stays the night while they pitch some woo. They have a ball, but you can bet that their troubles ain't quite over yet. After Romeo splits, poor Juliet meets her papa. Old man Capulet, he tells her, Juliet, I'm thinking today that you ought to get hitched, and right away. I've picked the fellow you'll get to marry. His name is Paris, and he's the guy for you. This piece of news lays Juliet low, 'cause she's already married to Romeo. She's stressed out bad and singing the blues when she tells Friar Lawrence the awful news.
Friar Lawrence, I'm in a terrible state. My papa wants Paris to be my mate. But I can't do that, because anybody can see, if I marry Paris, it's bigamy.
Now, Juliet, don't have a cow. I've a clever plan that'll work right now. I prepared a special drug for you. You could call it the Burnt Miracle Brew. You take one gulp and have all in a pint. Folks will think you're really dead, but you ain't. You'll be laid to rest, then you'll receive, so you'll feel real happy, 'cause you're alive. Then you'll split this town and off you'll go. Just you and your hubby, Romeo.
Well, Juliet swallows that crazy drug, which knocks her out till she's flat as a rug. She's put in a tomb 'cause her folks never guessed that she wasn't really dead, but just getting a rest. She'll wake up, of course, in a day or so and run off with her husband Romeo. There's just one problem that lies ahead. Poor Romeo hears that Juliet's dead. He opens the tomb for a final look, and you gotta know that he's really shook. When he sees the bod of this beautiful chick, he swallows some poison that kills him real quick. He's lying there cold, no longer alive, when Juliet begins to revive. She looks around, and what does she see but Romeo as dead as can be? With him not around, what good is life? So she stabs herself with a suicide knife. With both of them dead, it's not good news for the Capulets and the Montagues. They're sobbing and weeping, and they're all unglued. When they see the result of their family feud, they know in their hearts they've all been wrong, so they promise each other they'll get along. Though they'll have to do it, they all regret, without Romeo or Juliet.
Oh, my love. Romeo!
Oh my God! I don't know what I'm doing. Stoic! Stop being so stoic! Stoic! to drink a drug or two.
Go on.